Hello, welcome to our 7th tutorial video on athletic ability and how we see athletic ability using vibrational astrology. We're looking at the 6th greatest athlete of all time, according to the websites that I looked at, and that is the tennis player Steffi Graf. So there is Steffi's natal chart. Now, what do we know about Steffi Graf, other than the fact that she's one of the greatest, some people would say the greatest female tennis player of all time? Well, she's highly respected for her discipline, her focus, and dedication to the game. Okay, well, we already expect that athletes have, what makes them great athletes is this focus, this concentration. She's especially known for that, so we are fully expecting a strong 7th harmonic chart. Strong 7th harmonic chart meaning she might have 4 planets all aspected to each other in orb, in a pattern in the 7th harmonic chart, maybe the 35th harmonic chart. And because it's tennis, possibly the 7 times 3, which is the 21, or 7 times 9, which is the 63rd harmonic chart. That's what we would expect. Now, by the way, she happens to be a triple Gemini. Mercury, Moon, Sun, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant in Gemini. Ruler of Gemini is Mercury, all in Gemini. Excuse me. She's not very talkative, well known for having been quiet, very unassuming, very humble, and she became the best player, female tennis player, through perseverance and hard work. Okay, so let's look at her 7th harmonic chart, and as we expect, we're seeing a pattern. We're seeing Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn, and Mars, 4 power planets, all at 7 degrees of signs. Pluto 7 Leo, Jupiter 7 Virgo, Saturn 7 Sag, Mars, well, it's actually late 8, so it's weaker. It's not right on. In fact, Saturn's back at 6.5, 6 degrees 40 minutes. Mars at 8 degrees 54 minutes. This semi-sextile is out of orb. Also, this is another semi-sextile. Pluto to Mars would be a quincunx, but it's out of orb. So it's a loose pattern. It has reinforcement from some other planets. There's Moon at 7 degrees. There's Neptune at 6.5. So they get involved. Neptune, squares Pluto and sextiles Mars weekly. I see it's weak because of the thin line, but it's there. Sun gets a little bit involved at 10, but not that much. So there are some other planets. It's a weak pattern. We do not have the rock solid 4 power planets in a pattern. This indicates excellent athletic ability, but does not meet our criterion for 4 planets tightly aspected in a queer pattern. I don't even like these aspects, particularly semi-sextiles and quincunxes. That's not a pattern that we consider to be a power pattern. It's just not simple and queer and sharp enough. So she's got great athletic ability. She does have, patterns that, she has 4 power planets making the kind of aspects we want, and other planets involved, not quite meeting our criteria. So we look at this 63rd harmonic chart, and now we see that Saturn and Pluto, let me go back up here to Saturn and Pluto. Saturn and Pluto are trine in the 7th harmonic chart. In fact, if I remember correctly, they might even be aspected in the natal chart. Let's see, here's Saturn 5 Taurus. Pluto, no, they're not aspected in the natal chart. But anyway, her Saturn and Pluto, which form a tight trine in the 7th, because that trine is so exact, it remains in orb, becomes a conjunction in the 63rd with Mercury. This spreads only less than 5 degrees, and the Sun at 3 Libra, trining the Mercury, Saturn, and Pluto. So there we have it. Sun, Mercury, Saturn, Pluto, 4 power planets, all within orb in the 63rd harmonic, and 63 shows up in tennis players and baseball players in particular. We've seen it showing up a lot, and she meets the criteria. So she's got some things in the seventh harmonic indicating strong athletic potential, but it's the 63rd which really shines, which means that her sport is going to be something like baseball or tennis, and tennis would be the most obvious thing we would expect. As far as I know, there aren't female baseball major league baseball teams. There are softball, I guess, is a big sport. But I haven't. Maybe men and women could be different in these different sports. We do know that both men and women often have 63rd harmonic in tennis and men in baseball. And there it is, Steffi Graf, Sun, Trine, Mercury, Saturn, Pluto. She's got it. And there are other planets involved, as usual. Uranus and Venus are within orb of the Sun as well. Neptune is square, the Saturn. There are other little things getting involved, but that's the basic pattern. That's all it takes. 4 planets, all within orb, in a harmonic, specifically great for tennis, means it's a good thing she chose tennis, because that's the sport where she excels. She would not excel. Her chart indicates that she would not excel to the high level in other sports as she would in tennis, such as if she got into boxing. There is women's boxing. We don't see 63rd harmonic show up in boxing. It does show up in tennis. So she's got the right sport for her to be a super champion, and of course she was one of the greatest. Okay, so there we have it. Those are our 6 greatest athletes. They show up in both lists as among the very best. In the next video, I'm going to show you some additional research, and then I'll show you the other 8 athletes more briefly, just to go over and show that they all have these patterns that indicate extraordinary athletic ability. Okay, thank you very much, my friends. God bless. Namaste.